What up? Hopefully, some people get to tap in, have a little conversation, see what y'all all about. See if the people in the building. They need to let some people in the building. I'm just rolling a cigarette, but I'll be ready to get it in. All right, what's up? Party people in the house. Just kicking back, trying to get working, waiting on the package to be delivered. So I'm like, man, I need to work. I'm sitting here for some hours. When they say they're gonna deliver something, they always deliver it at the end of the opening. If they even do that. I'm just looking like why it don't ever say out for delivery yet. Did the dude forget to click the button? What's up with Christoph? It is what it is. Let's see if some people could get up in here. Say what's up when y'all roll through. What's up, Germany? What's up? This your first time watching my channel? You just scrolling through the thing? What you doing? You just scrolling through or what? Let me know. Or you be watching this show, this channel. Did I check Sonetta's live last night? No, I might look on my computer right here. I got my computer right here, so let me see. YouTube. What happened on Sonetta's live last night? Was it something I needed to see? Let me go look at. The King's monologue is on. I should go watch him too. I'll go watch him in a minute. Sa or Sonetta TV. What they was talking about last night? 6 days ago, one day ago. Can you get my name? My name is Smash Rockwell Intendant's Elegance. Casual from the High Road Crew. Hip hop legend, boy. Go do your homework. House of Consciousness. Let me see. I'm looking on the House of Consciousness for last night. No, I don't see nothing. 15 hours ago. The 42 Laws of Ma'at. Corrected. Were the Neteru, what? Let's see what this is all about. He corrected the 42 Laws of Ma'at. Let's see what that's about. We're going to watch some of this. Probably have to listen to it.
He's not opening up pages and showing you
Why
some
it's so low?
They're mainly teaching you just history, and in that, the perspective of the understanding of
That's all the
spirituality
way up, but that got to go
lost.
louder than that. I don't see no
And I
speaker
came to
button.
reteach that and bring
Oh,
back
here we
what the
go.
ancestors taught. So we only teach what is in the writings. The Greeks came and invented a word called myth, and they utilized this word called myth that they created
I don't know. It's hella
to
low.
superimpose over everybody's way of life. So there's no
So did you agree with what you seen on Sonetta's show last night?
Sugagi, Sagiga word for myth. There's no Metaneta word for myth. None of the ancient cultures have this equivalent word, but for some reason, when Greeks talk about all the other cultures, they superimpose
Dang, this
one
computer's super
word
boosty for being this
in the
low.
other cultures
Maybe it's
that
something else
and
going
that's
on.
the word that defines everybody else's
Let me see.
culture. But the people of Kemet have no parallel
Oh, it go louder. Okay.
myth other than where it originally came from, and that was the word mit, which meant truth. It was a truthful legend, and that's where the word ma'at came from mit, and it meant truth.
All
So
right, just for the
the
record,
netters,
I don't want to challenge the Hootie on nothing that he be teaching, because I ain't that confrontational. I don't agree with everything he says. When he started talking about the metal nature, I just completely stopped listening. But some people know more stuff than I know. Like some people know, a lot of people know more than I know. Some people know the mythology, particularly if they coming out of textbooks talking about ancient Egypt or whatever. Tahuti would know a lot of the mythology better than me. You know what I'm saying? Uh, if they're talking about just standard information, if they're trying to teach some new arcane information or whatever, then I don't know. I would like to see how we source some of these claims, and if I don't know what people's it's metal nature is something you can learn. It ain't a superpower. So when cats be like, "You don't know the metal nature," I'm like, okay, you can say that today, but you're gonna see this person in 2 years and they might know the meta nature, right? And so, with that being said, I just seen him show a lot of EA Wallace Bud stuff, and I don't be real necessarily digging it. But let's listen.
are several things. Um, there are aspects of nature because they're words they use to describe nature, and then they are beings. And I brought this up several times that joy is a principle. You can't touch it, you can't grab it, you can't weigh it, you can't measure it. Joy is a perspective, and it's something that is different amongst different people. It's subjective reality. So you can bring a joyful principle, but there are women that are actually named Joy. And until you get into the culture and read the actual writings, you will not be able to decipher which one is joy, the feeling that you have in the principle of joy and happiness, and which one is the actual woman. There's millions of women named Joy. And if you were to come from another culture, you may think that every time you hear the word
I don't know if he's making a good point there, because I don't think nobody gonna think that if they talking to a girl named Joy and mistake that for joy. Like, what is he talking about?
joy, it's talking about the feeling, but there are women named Joy. So
So I got a question for you.
yes,
And the women
the
named
fangs are
Joy,
in the back.
hold
The
on.
fangs are in.
The women named Joy, the meaning of their name still refers to the feeling. But I'm sorry, I just want to hear this. I'm not trying to refute it.
It's that cobra like that.
No, you can't take the venom
Sorry.
I know you.
of what they mean, such as Geb. So such as Geb. Let's say Geb is a word for earth. So that's a word that describes something. But there is also a being described in the writings called Geb. And the people that came and started teaching are people that the Neter were just principles, were people that were they were using Kemet originally with the Dr. Benz and the Dr. Clarks and all those original people. Originally, Kemet was brought as a fighting mechanism to fight racism. It was taught to fight. It was brought to fight racism and brought to bring pride to show that black people were the first civilization. The Hebrews, the Bible was stolen. All those original topics, but none of them were teaching any spiritual aspects from the coffin text. Dr. Ben was not teaching from the coffin text. Dr. Clark was not teaching from the Purim Haru. He's not opening up pages and showing you spiritual disciplines. They were mainly teaching you just history.
That's not really true.
The perspective of the understanding of spirituality was lost. And I came to reteach that and bring back what the ancestors taught. So we only teach what is in the writings. The Greeks came and invented a word called myth, and they utilized this word called myth that they created to superimpose over everybody's way of life. So there's no ancient Hindu word for myth. There's no ancient Sumerian or Sagiga word for myth. There's no Medu word for myth. None of the ancient cultures have this equivalent word, but for some reason,
Y'all agree with that? Do you agree that even if his point is correct, say that there's no word for myth, would that mean that myth didn't exist? Or you don't know the word for myth? I don't know the word for myth in ancient Egyptian. But that wouldn't mean that it didn't exist. But let's still, I'm not refuting him, I'm just listening.
When Greeks talk about all the other cultures, they superimpose this one word, Greek word, that the other cultures never heard of, and that's the word that defines everybody else's culture. But the people of Kemet have no parallel word to the word myth other than where it originally came from, and that was the word mit, which meant truth.
Now that's not, all right, hold on, stop. Now hold on. He just said myth originally came from a word mit, which means truth. He's messing that all up. But he's not wrong all the way. What we do sometimes is we latch down on a different set of vowels, basically without doing at least some of the work that some of the pseudo or some of these linguists attempt to do, is to find out what the real vowels are, right? So let's just say we don't got the words, the vowels. If you take an M and a T in ancient Egyptian, you can extract the meaning truth from that. But actually the M and the T, not just from the M and the T, it does have characters in between. And I said, oh, excuse me, I just started talking. It does have characters in between, which some say may hold the place of vowels or whatever, but mid truth ain't all the way, that ain't wrong.
It was a truthful legend, and that's where the word ma'at came from mit, and it meant truth. So the netters are several things. There are aspects of nature, because they're words they use to describe nature, and then they are beings. And I brought this up several times, that joy is a principle. You can't touch it, you can't grab it, you can't weigh it, you can't measure it. Joy is a perspective, and it's something that is different amongst different people. It's subjective, a subjective reality. So you can bring a joyful principle, but there are women that are actually named Joy. And until you get into the culture and read the actual writings, you will not be able to decipher which one is joy, the feeling that you have in the principle of joy and happiness, and which one is the actual woman. There's millions of women named Joy. And if you were to come from another culture, you may think that every time you hear the word joy, it's talking about the feeling, but there are women named Joy. So
I got a question for you.
Yes.
So
A little push.
If he's going to use that women named Joy thing to say there was a man named Dahudi, there were plenty of men named Dahudi. I'm pretty sure there were hundreds of men named Osiris. There was probably, Wasir. There was probably the first man named Wasir. But if you want to acknowledge that there was no ancient Egyptian word for myth, as he says, while not acknowledging what veneration creates myth. So there's no way that you could venerate and create legend. See, myth just becomes natural after a while. So it just probably emerged naturally, because think about it. When the venerable individual is deceased, right? I can turn the camera around, I'm tripping. When the venerable individual dies, then people have to tell a story about all the great things he did, and we consider it and call it legend, right? So, in a legend, in recounting or recalling a legend, right? Myth is created. That's just natural. Come on, bro. What do I mean? I'm saying, like, they might not recall the story of his greatness accurately. And you got to think of how time works. And they might just tell a great story, right? They might just tell a great story that matches the character of the entity that they want you to know about. And that will be like a myth being created. Peace, Chris. Chris say myth is also used to propagate culture, ideas. All right, well, let's see how he attacks it.
Back for you, man.
Gladly.
Are you saying that Geb, Newt, these are real people? Hey, oh. Be careful how you answer that. Be very careful, brother.
That's the son Neteru, be careful.
Zariak is out there waiting in the wing. I went out there to visit them yesterday, and they got a picture of the Geb with the peanuts pointing towards the mouth. And I was out there arguing with them, telling them that this is mythology, that this is not a real person. So I want you to really be careful, brother, the way you answer this thing here.
That is a beautiful thing. So first of all, shout out to Zariak, but as you know, he's not allowed. He's been banned to debate me. So by General Johanna has banned him to debate me. So I don't think we have anything to worry about with him and me because he's not allowed to debate me.
Right.
But as far as he said, he's not allowed to debate any Kemetic topic or people. And then he had 2 Kemetic debates after he was banned from that. So obviously,
right.
For me, he says I have to get my weight up. But I don't know how you get your weight up after you've already debated Jabari. If I debated Jabari, well, who's higher weight than that? But at any rate, so is Geb? Yes. So what I want to first establish is to separate me. I'm not, maybe later when I come on, but I'm going to leave it up to Patah. I'm not going to do it right now. Is to show screen shares and things like that. That's maybe later when you let the wolves out. What do you call it? Let the gates flood.
Open up the floodgates.
Yeah, open up the floodgates. Then I may come on and show some things.
Say yes.
But I'll leave that up to Patah for now. What I want everybody to do is to separate me and you from the belief systems of ancient people. The belief systems of ancient people are what they believed and what they said. So the topic is not does Tahuti teach, does Tahuti believe the Neteru are real or Neterus are real? Did the culture, so when we go back to the culture of the Aztecs, the culture of the people of Kemet or Smawitawi, what did they believe? We have to get our 2025 mentality out of it and just read from the writings. And yes, they acknowledge that Geb is in what's called a cartouche. That's a French word for a weapon, what bullets are held in, but he's in his shen. So the ancient people taught that only the names of physical kings that rule go in something called a shen.
Oh, when you go to the Taurian. Right, so he can be challenged on so many fronts. He put himself out there, and the white people put themselves out there. It just be like, man, that could be towed up off the top of the head sitting right in my office. So the ancient people taught this. Can you pull up those teachings? Can you reference those teachings? Can we read those teachings in the primary original language? I want to pull this back just a bit, man. I don't believe it.
It shows the name of Geb. There was a being named Geb who lived longer than any other regular human being, and he was in the Shen.
Oh, and that's the part I didn't address. If the argument is based on the name just being in the Shen, I don't really like to be the person like I'm on YouTube trying to correct people. But golly, that just ain't it. But I'll show you hella shit in the Shen. Let me think off the top. Let's go off the top. Chris, off the top. Who in the Shen? Is Bobby in the Shen? I think I got Bobby the Baboon in the Shen. I might have Bobby the Baboon in the Shen. I don't know if I got Bobby the Baboon in the Shen. um, a Shinu, right? I mean, Shinu,
Shens are only for kings, so they believe
right? So shins are only for kings. It's not necessarily true.
that was a physical ruler, and they gave the amount.
See, he's not necessarily wrong with the way he's wrong, but some of the things he's saying is correct, right? But his interpretation, because Shinu is for because a Shin is for a king, doesn't mean that that king had to be living. And it's not just a king. Oh, all right, look. My daughter calling me and I'm live, dang, that's hella weak. I need to take the call, dog. I can't just not take the call, so gotta do it. I'll be back.